You could diagram the sequence for maybe a double play. How do you complete a double play in baseball? Or maybe in science, you can think of like a digestive tract and the steps of the digestion. Or maybe in a health class, you could do a conflict resolution and the steps of conflict resolution. Or maybe a language class, you could do write out a little story for the language class. Now, when before Storyboard, I would give the students a blank sheet of paper, and on that blank sheet of paper, we divide that paper up into 6 squares. And I would have the kids on the top left box, they'd call that the exposition, and they draw a little picture of the beginning of the story and give like a little quote from the page. And then the top row, we'd come up with 2 rising actions, 2 things that happened in the story. And then the bottom row, we'd come up with the climax and the falling action resolution. So it'd be very like a comic strip. So it'd be very much like maybe like a graphic novel. And so I know in movie making, the movie directors will, before they shoot the movie, they'll make a storyboard. So we'd do something very similar to that. But now with Storyboardthat, I save paper and drawing, and I noticed that the students' artistic skills with the computer are kind of diminishing, and so they're able to create their more artistic skills with the computer. So first thing you have to do is read a story. And so in the class, we'd read a story, but with shelter in place, we had to come up with ways to come up with a story. So on the Chromebook, what I did was I have an Audible account. And so I'd play the Audible on my Chromebook, and then I'd get a PDF text, and I'd show the PDF text on my Chromebook. And then I used Loom, but you can also use Screencastify. I recorded a story. So we'd have the Audible. I like that one because it's a professional reader, and so they use a lot of good emotion and inflection in their readings, and it saves my voice as well. And the text, they could see it as well. Then I would take the recording from Loom and download it onto Edpuzzle. And then on Edpuzzle, I'm able to add my pause and reflect questions. And then after that, I would be able to upload that to the Google Classroom. So that was kind of a way I used how I could get the story out to them during the shelter in place here. And they get to hear the story and then read it as well. So I had code taught classes last year. So this would also help with the code taught students. Then I'd have to, after they read the story, we'd want to give the instructions on making a storyboard. So this set of instructions was from chapter 28 of To Kill a Mockingbird. So last year I taught 9th grade English. And so our storyboard was going to have 6 boxes. And so it tells them what kind of goes in each box. I want 1 exposition, 2 rising actions, a climax, a falling action, a resolution. And I give the page number there, and so that helps out the students so you don't spend all the time looking for the pages and to try to find what happened. So it kind of gives them an idea of what to choose from. And then I told them that in each box, they're going to have the setting, characters, and then the quotes with the page number. Or I also did Romeo and Juliet. So this was the instructions I gave them on the Google Classroom. So I said to go to Storyboardthat. So I gave them the link to the Storyboardthat. And they're going to create a comic strip for one of the following scenes. And they're going to create a 6-frame storyboard. And I told them they could rewrite the dialogue into modern English or try to put in maybe a modern slang. So we could have Romeo and Juliet as, I don't know, cowboys and cowgirls. And then they want to download the storyboard and add to the assignment page on Google Classroom. So I gave them an option from Act 1, Scene 5. I gave them kind of six sections to choose from, or Act 2, Scene 2, or Act 3, Scene 1. And then we could get started with Storyboardthat. So directions were to go to Storyboardthat. when you go there, you have to log in. And so I told the students to log in, and they're going to log in with their Google account. And so this is a free account. You can pay for upgraded services, but for my purposes, I just want the free information. And then I told them to create a storyboard. And they're going to have to kind of add or delete cells. I want them to make a 3x2 storyboard. They have to update that. And then for the storyboard, they have to look for the exposition. And then the second thing they have to look for are the characters. And then to add the words, they have to add some text or textables. And then I like them to label the box. And then when they're finished, they have to save their storyboard and click download. So they have to download the program. And then on the Google Classroom, they're then able to add the file. That is the most difficult part for the students. So I've done this with the students in the classroom, and so it's best if the kids are in the classroom, but you might get creative and have to make like a screencastify on teaching the students how to download and add a file to the Google Classroom. And so the students were then able to add in their information. So for example, Magdalena was swirling around. And so for the Google Classroom, I had the different assignments, so the pages there. And she was then able to add in the PDF, so the Google, the storyboard. And so this would be the storyboard for Act 3, Scene 1. And so because we're doing the free version, there's a watermark. We get the watermark on there. If you don't want the watermark, you have to pay. But it kind of creates a little storyboard, and then they can kind of scroll down and it kind of blows up the different scenes. So we have it that way. And I like this because it's all on the Google Classroom, and I don't need to save paper. It's already saved for me and things like that. But some of the students have the difficulty adding a file to the Google Classroom. So that's what we kind of need the most help with. All right, so we're ready to go to Storyboardthat. So I would kind of click on my link. And as you can kind of click on your storyboard as that. So you have to kind of log in. And so you want to log in with your Google account. And so I'm going to create a storyboard. All right, and I like to have, so I'm going to go to add delete cells. I like to have a 3x2. Now, 3x2 is the most you can have for the free account. So if you want more storyboards, that's going to have you, you're going to have to pay and update and create. But for my purposes, I've only used 3x2 squares in my teaching practice. And so I have my grids here. Now, first thing I want to do is I want to make a scene. So I got to put in my scenes here. And so there's different scenes you can add in there. So there's town, entertainment, homes, school, athletics, all different types. So we have kind of U.S. history, mythical, futuristic, lots of different types of scenes. So for To Kill a Mockingbird, chapter 28, if you remember, Scout goes to the school. There's the school pageant. So I want to add a school. And so I can kind of pick and choose my school there. And so I will click on that, and I will add that to my scene. Now I can edit the scene. So I can change the color of the sky. I can change the color of the building. I could make it nighttime. I could have it snow and rain. So there's different ways you can kind of update and color in your scene. Then I would continue. And then if you remember, Scout is at the school play. And so she has to go to the school play. And so I could look for the theater. And so maybe my next scene, I would add in the theater box. And again, you can kind of change the color of your curtains. Or you could edit the scene. You could have the curtains closed or open. You could have a spotlight. So different things like that. And then Scout and her brother Jem leave the school play and they walk home. And so they have to go outside. And so maybe I might choose outdoor or country rustic. And she has to go outside and she has to walk home and they have to go past a tree. So maybe I'll choose that one for my last scene. So that's how you add in your scenes. Next, you have to add in some characters. So at the top there, I choose some characters and different characters you could choose from. Kind of from the old-fashioned to modern to the different little areas. So I'm going to choose Scout, and Scout's a girl. And Scout has to wear she wears a pink dress to the show. So I add in Scout. And so I could change the dress, the skin, the eyes, the hair color. So very kind of easy to do that. Again, I can kind of change her pose. So I can change her head, her eyes. I can have her kind of kneeling down. In the scene, she has to she kind of falls asleep while she's waiting to go on stage. So maybe I'll have her kind of leaning down. So I could kind of add in my characters. So there's Jem and Scout as well. And then I want to add in some words. So I go to Textables to add in some words. And we have different little text boxes to add in there. So I will add in for Scout what she could say, and then click to edit. So I'll have to type in the quote that she has. And then different fonts changes you could choose as well. Let's see. If you remember from To Kill a Mockingbird, Scout dresses up she's a ham for her school play. Now, one of the kids was able to show me that you had to go to the search bar and you can search for different things. So I can search for a ham costume. So I can type in ham and search. I want to upgrade. And a ham costume came up. So obviously, a English teacher must be part of this program. So I could take my ham costume and put it over Scout and adjust it. And so I would do that for the other squares as well. And then when I'm all done, I'm happy with it. I'm going to go to Save. And I'll give this a title. All right, so now I need to download this. So this is where the kids have the most trouble. So I'll choose download. And I just save it as a PDF. So I'll choose that. And then when they're ready, then they have to go to the Google Classroom and then they have to add the file and they add it from their downloads as the PDF. So that's the basics of Storyboardthat. You can, if you have questions, but I was thinking you would want time to play around, move things around there, and then you would be able to practice it. What would be things you would use a Storyboardthat for? Or was I too fast? Was there something you want to go back to? Or you just want time to explore and play on your own?
Hello. I don't know if this would be possible or not, but can we look at how they would, I don't know if it's possible, but can we look at how, like, once you create a storyboard, you add a link to Google Classroom, so that, because I'm a little bit confused on that myself. If not,
yeah, so let's see. So they would hit download. Let's see. Can I? Let's see. Yeah, I just have the teacher view. I don't know if I'd be able to see the student view. If you know how to do that, let me know. So on the student view, there's a button where it says they'll say add. And so on the button, it says add, and there's different things they could choose from. And so for this one, I just have them add a file. And then it'll tell them to go to downloads, and then that would be their first downloads. And so that's how they add their download. That's the easiest way, I think, is just to add the download. You can add a link, so you can try it that way as well. So on the Google Classroom, on the student classroom page, there's a button where they can add different links or files.
Thank you.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
This is Jacky Ambrose. One Jacky only. I typed a question asking specifically, why is it so difficult for students? It's sort of repeating a similar question that was asked. Why do you think it's so difficult if the steps are there and we practice?
Yeah, it's just that they've never done it before, and so
Okay.
once they've done it once, then it's easy. So I use Adobe Spark and Canva, and so they're used to downloading and adding the downloads to my classroom. But the first couple times, the students kind of get confused, and they have trouble like remembering to look in their download file and where to find it once it's been saved.
Okay, so it's like muscle memory. And,
yeah,
and finally, you use a rubric with this?
Yeah, so well, the instructions. So as long as they've kind of added the picture and they added the quotes, it kind of shows that they understand the story.
Okay. Excellent.
The one I kind of look for the most is the climax, the kind of the turning point. So I want to make sure that they understand that what the climax is and where's the turning point of the story. So I kind of pay attention to that one the most.
Excellent. That helps. Thank you.
All right, so any other questions? So I'll be on the line here. So if you would like to explore and play, so I'll stay on the line here for questions. Last thing is the kind of the evaluation. So there's the evaluation at the end, so you can click on that. And then kind of play around. There's different little buttons to play with, different little formats. I noticed there was like timelines and flowcharts you could look at, different little characters, try to figure out how you could incorporate this into your different little stories or lessons. For language, I didn't know if you were able to type in a foreign language. Maybe you could explore that and see, will they accept foreign language?
Steve, I saw someone ask this in the chat. Can you edit once you push save? Like, is there a way for kids to come back to this, or they have to do it all in one sitting?
No, that would be, well, they would have their own Storyboard account
Okay.
through their student classroom. So yes, they would then be able to go onto their account and edit and change their storyboard around.
Okay, and then just whatever, after they hit save and download it, that's whatever version they would turn in.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, so then if they edit it, change it around, they'd have to save it again and download it again.
Okay, thank you.
All right, well, thank you for being attentive. It's kind of, I find this very weird not being able to hear or see people when you're presenting. So hope everything works out well. I hope I was clear and you can see different uses for your own classroom.
This is Jacky Ambrose again from Harden. I appreciate your walking through and illustrating step by step. Another reminder to me, this is what I'm going to do for my students, whether I use Loom or another medium to go ahead and explicitly go through the steps with them. I know a video like that will be helpful for them. So
yes.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, so this for 6 boxes, the first time I did this with the students, I gave them 45 minutes to create their storyboards. And so for those students that were pretty with it, that was enough time. But for the co-taught students or the students that were not computer savvy or tech savvy, they needed more time. And so I just tell them that they can, finish it for homework and then download it and save it. Mm-hmm. But that's kind of where I find the trouble is that if you aren't in the classroom, they forget how to download and add it to the Google Classroom. That's kind of like the biggest hiccup.
Yeah, so that's good anticipation of what some of the problems will be. I was just thinking, kids coming back, the storyboard could be something a getting to know you type thing. Well, not the first day, but eventually.
Sure.
There's
yes.
so much more than just the English or the science we can do. Thank you for sharing this.
Sure.
Mhm.
Thank
Ever
you.
been tempted to buy, or you're happy with the free, quite satisfied?
For me, the free one's enough for me.
Excellent.
The one I bought was I bought Quizlet. I like Quizlet, so I paid for that one.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, eh?
Sure.
Hi, Steve. Good morning. It's
Hi.
Jodi Bell from Salinas High.
Yes.
I teach science. I was just playing around with the storyboard while you're showing us. Can you show again? So I made 3 boxes. How would I save it and share it with someone if I didn't want to make it a Google assignment?
Oh, let me see.
Or save it to my drive so I could show them an example.
Right. And all right, so normally I would save it as a download version, as a PDF. But there's different little programs you could play with. So if I save it as a PDF, so it's kind of in my download manager. So it's my downloads complete. And then I would be able to then email it to somebody by adding a download. So I could then attach a file. And so I have my, under downloads, I have my To Kill a Mockingbird chapter 28 PDF. So then I would attach that. And then I would be able to share it that way through an email. Or I could attach that PDF to a Google slide or something like that. Is that what you were kind of, does that help?
Yes. Do you mind if I try that real quick to send it to you?
I'm here.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
so yeah, so you create your storyboard and hit save, and then I hit download, and then I download it, and then it's in my download file. See, I see a question in the chat about what kind of rubric to use. For this one, I don't really grade it too hard. I just make sure that there's they follow directions. So if there's if I want them to make 6 squares, I want them to make sure that there's the different parts of this plot are in each square in the rubrics. So for this one, I would just use it as like classwork. So I would just grade it as, just give it a couple points there. So I would just do kind of holistically, I'd grade it as either done or incomplete. The students that are really tech savvy, they really kind of get into their creating the storyboards. So in that To Kill a Mockingbird chapter 28 with the ham costume, Scouts, the ham costume gets kind of crushed and crumpled. And so this one student was able to crush and crumple the ham costume on the Storyboardthat website. So those students that are really tech savvy and artistic, they really appreciate this program. And for those students that don't draw very well, or they like it because it's kind of easy to draw. So Jodi sent me a email, so I could check my email box. And so I get the email, and it's a travel safely storyboard. So I'm able to then open that up. Right, and so she's able to kind of create that one, so add animals and the different shapes of the textables. Right, so nothing too difficult, right, Jodi?
No, I figure if I can learn it, the kids can learn it twice as fast.
But yeah, just time for the students. So I'm always kind of cram stuff into my lessons. And so for this one, the students like to have time to work on it.
Well, it might be nice because we're going to do synchronous, and you have your lesson, teach the content, show them how to do it, and then they can work on it that afternoon.
Correct. Yes, I think that's what I'm thinking about planning. So I'm thinking about just checking in with the students like 10, 15 minutes, and then have their different assignments they have to do on their own. I'm thinking that's how I'll survive online teaching.
I taught summer school, and I did this quarter 4 too. I recorded all my Google Meets, all my class sessions, so students that had to work or do other things could watch them later, and that was really helpful. But I didn't allow the kids to have their cameras on because we weren't allowed to do that. So
Right.
now with the cameras on, I don't know if we can record our lesson and then post it.
Yeah, hopefully that'll work. I see some people just joined. So right now we're just kind of playing around and exploring Storyboardthat, but I provided a link to the presentation on the chat. So that chat, the link there will give you the links to the Storyboardthat. And it has kind of directions on how to use Storyboardthat that I give to the students. Sign in the email links.
Question. Is there a way to say like copy a character that you already customized, or do you just have to start over each time?
Ooh, good question. I'm not too sure.
Okay.
Looks like if I click on that character, there's a edit, it says copy, and it gives me a copy of the character that I can move around. Will that do
Awesome,
it
thank
once
you.
you save it? Is that what you're kind of looking for?
Exactly. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, so it looks under edits. I look for the copy of the character. Yeah, the students spent a lot of times editing the pose of the characters. They can make the characters do lay down, stand up, run. So they had a lot of fun with that one. All right, so we got 15 minutes till our next presentation. Does anybody know how to copy the recording? And so I have to add this recording to the spreadsheet.